Leah Jacobson, how are you?
I'm well. Good morning, Lisa Canning. How are you?
I am so excited because we have a pretty epic announcement to make today regarding our Fearless Future conference happening next week, a week from today, February 28th through to March 1st in Orlando, Florida. And it is, I am like, I feel like I've been keeping, it's just like a gender reveal. I feel like I've been sitting on this secret for a while. Leah, what are we offering people who want to be at this conference but might not be able to join us in person in Orlando?
Well, we waited till a week out because we really wanted you to get your ticket and come see us in person, if at all possible. But we also want those of you that just absolutely cannot get on a plane and fly to Florida right now to be part of it. And so we are so pleased to announce that we will have a virtual ticket option next week at the Fearless Future Conference. You've asked, and we're delivering.
And this is your opportunity to truly be part of a unique conversation that we are having about women's healthcare. And it's been interesting building this conference out. And, there's so many different ways we could have gone with this conference, so many different things we could have featured. But I know, Leah, one of the things that was so important to you was this whole concept of not having silos when it comes to the various ways, various pieces or the elements of healthcare for women. So why is it so important to you that we break down these silos and we have a much more integrated or holistic conversation?
Well, this has been the whole process of guiding star for the past, 10, 15 years is identifying the key pieces in the women's healthcare conversation and in the movement that really affect how we as women view our bodies, how we show up in the world, how we understand our identity, what gives us happiness, flourishing, wholeness. And this goes way back to, 2012 as I'm finishing my master's thesis on women's health and wellness with the lactation consulting specialty. And I'm recognizing that to be a good lactation consultant, I can't ignore the childbirth experience. And then to be an effective support for these women that are dealing with postpartum depression because of a negative childbirth experience, I have to listen to their story that's also about how they got put on hormonal contraception when they were a young girl. And so I've been trying for 15 years to really bring this conversation forward of these things don't happen in isolation. All of our experiences of our womanhood, of our body, the body that we live in, they compound. They sort of accumulate throughout our life. And if we have somebody who at 12 years old is receiving negative messaging about her body, and then it's reinforced in a difficult pregnancy, a difficult childbirth experience, and then she struggles with breastfeeding, it's really hard to expect that kind of a woman who's had this very normal experience, which is the majority of women in our country, the majority of women are in this healthcare system experiencing this. It's very difficult to expect her to have a deep love and appreciation and connection to her body. She doesn't feel whole and integrated. She's just surviving. She's just trying to make it through every day, trying to corral these babies and make sense of the world. And so this conference, I'm hoping and praying, is that first moment where we get them all these different silos, these people, all these different movements, the fertility movement, the childbirth movement, the breastfeeding movement, the motherhood movement. We get them all in the room together and we say, we have to lock arms for the sake of women. Like, we've got to do it. And this is the conference where we're going to start to do that.
We're highlighting some really unique people. Marion Thompson, one of the co-founders of La Leche League, who recently made waves because she resigned from being on the board because of La Leche League's policies allowing men who identify as women into their meetings. We're going to be honoring at our gala Dr. Marguerite Duane, who has contributed so much in the world of fertility awareness, putting fertility awareness training into medical schools because doctors don't learn this incredibly important aspect that women then don't receive. Women don't, I thought it was a very jarring statistic, Leah, that so many women do not know, I'll be honest.
It was 3%. It's 3% of medical students receive accurate fertility awareness education. Like, that's shocking. 3%.
And there's a ripple effect then to the general population who does not know. And I was one of those women who was kind of confused about her cycle for many years until more recently. If we do not have these education as normal lay people, how can we then make informed decisions? It makes sense that so much is coming out of fear when we're not understanding how our bodies actually work. We're going to be honoring Dr. John Richalski, who has an incredible story and who has caught and delivered so many babies.
Yeah, thousands.
Honoring him and his work in commitment to excellence in pregnancy and birth services. Jenny McGregor, who is a lactation consultant, we're going to be honoring how she has contributed to the movement of breastfeeding and postpartum care. And then Dr. Susan Bain, excellence in motherhood and family life. She is trying very hard to bring medical standards to pregnancy resource centers and to support motherhood and the providing this type of healthcare to women who need it. We're honoring we're featuring some pretty incredible speakers. If you're listening to this on audio, I'm scrolling down to show just these incredible pictures of all of the women that we're going to be featuring. Leah, who are you excited to hear from?
Katie Vidmar, of course. I had her here on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we got to talk about her work with, elevating pregnancy centers again by bringing in fertility awareness methods. Rachel Kalaki and Serena Sigilito. This panel, I'm so excited for this panel on birth and experiences with birth. Arena, of course, and our directors, Kaylee and Amy, directors at our centers, talking about how you actually connect these silos in a community. I mean, Tina, Destiny, Mark, everybody. Mark's another one of our center directors. Destiny talking about grassroots activism and like how you actually work in the women's movement with people that maybe don't seem like allies. I think that's the other piece of this, is that these silos exist even within, kind of our side of the movement, the pro-life sort of like life affirming side of the movement. These silos exist. But then we also have this whole other isolation of we don't even know how to talk to the other side. And here's the really great news. What we're talking about with natural women's healthcare is not a religious argument. It's not a political argument. It's just what is best for women's bodies and health. And there are no party lines on that. Like, this is an across the aisle, like everyone should be able to get on the same page. There are things that are really good for our body and there are things that are really bad for our bodies. And so anybody is welcome to come and just learn about these advances in women's healthcare. The fertility advances alone are worth coming to this conference to learn about. Right now the conversation on IVF is super hot. Like, come learn.
I'm excited to have a conversation with Tina Whittington and Arena, first, who I knew, talking about policy. That is very interesting to me, and how it relates to how can we create policies in healthcare and in society that promote motherhood or even encourage motherhood. Like, incentivize might be a little strong of a word, but it's fascinating to me, this creation of policy. And so that's something we're hitting on as well on day 2. I think another thing that is really important, a conversation in this conference, is, again, taking all of the silos. So if you visually think of them, silos can be these vertical individual structures.
Yeah.
At our gala, we're going to be unveiling a white paper that the Guiding Star Project has worked on that is a succinct articulation of why we believe this approach to healthcare is so important and so necessary. And we've chosen to pictorialize it in a circle. And I just love, think of the separation of all of the silos, but then move it into more of a unified circle. Leah, what is in this white paper and why is it important?
Well, again, it's like this last 15 years of trying to articulate what Guiding Star is, what individuates us, what makes this approach really unique. And I published my book in 2021, Holistic Feminism, and purposely used the word, whole. I wanted whole in there because it is this sort of idea of whole. Like, how do we integrate a woman's identity into one cohesive thing? And so I think what this white paper is doing is taking a lot of the concepts from my book and making them much more succinct, because I think we've struggled with that over the last 10 to 15 years for people to quickly and clearly understand the problem that we as Guiding Star are addressing, because it's much, much bigger than just, stopping abortion. That's an easy sort of like, oh, I get what you do. But that is the downward effect of us being successful. we're working far, far, farther upstream to say, no, we want you in here by the time you're 9 years old to learn your cycle, so then you can value and respect and protect your body. So it's a much different approach. And I think this white paper should hopefully help people in a much quicker read understand the problem and why we have a culture that sees things, like the pill and abortion, and even euthanasia, all sort of the life challenging things as solutions.
I am so excited to be in person, and an in-person conference, it's lovely, right? You get to hug people. I can't wait to hug you.
It's been a while.
Our team is all over, the United States, and so it'll be so nice to just connect. But I really want to encourage that the virtual conference, you will feel like you're in the room. We've done this before. We live streamed a gala that Guiding Star Project held a couple years ago, and we do our very best to make it an intimate experience for you watching on the internet at home. And so, just especially if we've had many birth workers, midwives who doulas, who unfortunately have or exciting, but they have babies due right around the time of our conference, and so unfortunately they can't leave. So this gives you an opportunity, if you are in this field of catching babies and of course are needing to be close to these women, this gives you the opportunity to be involved, to be included, and be part of the conversation. We will be encouraging you to participate, to comment, chat, to meet people, and really emulate as much as possible what you would be experiencing in Orlando from the comfort of your own home. Leah, any final words on making this an incredible point in history?
Well, gosh, I mean, we were talking about in some of our ads this last week, we kind of pointed to it, because you think about these great movements, you think about these moments in time that are really important, and where it seems like an energy sort of like comes together at a point and just something happens. And we've been feeling that. We've been feeling like it's time. It's time. Like the convergence of our knowledge, of our advancement technology in science and in understanding the human person, psychology, dignity, faith, reason, all the things are kind of culminating in this moment to say, we've really been doing things wrong for women. And we think we have a solution. So I think that this is kind of one of those moments where we're going to start to see something very different coming out in women's healthcare. And so I invite anyone that wants to be part of that really revolutionary sort of change to be a voice at the table to say, hey, I think this part of it needs to change. And this is how, like, be part of this. I know, speaking to your point there about the birth workers and people that can't make it, this invitation, especially, I want to extend it to anybody international, especially the international members of La Leche League. Marion Thompson has connections all over the globe, and she has expressed how much she would just really love to see the people that she's been involved with all around the world for the last 70, 60 years, 70 years. This is 1950. I mean, we're coming up on 70 years of La Leche League. This is a lot of people. And so this is an opportunity for leaders everywhere across the globe to join in and to really congratulate her and thank her as well. Our Friday night gala, Marion will be joining us virtually, and she'll be doing some Q&A and answering questions. And so if you just want to join to just even like log in and say, I love you, Marion, like, thank you for your contribution, or any of the other award winners, this is your opportunity to get your message to them in a live format. So we invite you to share the virtual gala ticket, encourage anyone you know that would want to be part of this conference, either during the day to hear the speakers or in the evening to congratulate our reward recipients. Would really welcome you.
I also just love the idea of strength in numbers. Our voice is louder when we are together. And so, I want to pose a challenge. What if we could make the Fearless Future Conference the most widely attended women's healthcare event on the internet, in 2025? What if we could gather hundreds of people from the United States and beyond, coming together and collectively using our voice, collectively collaborating and sharing ideas and sharing concepts, and then spreading the good news of why this type of healthcare matters in all of our communities. It truly is like, as I've been doing all this work for this conference, right? You know, we've been talking about what we do and why we're different so much, and thinking about all of these concepts. But it just, if you do not have a place where a woman's care is truly going to lead to the kind of outcomes that are good for her, like if that does not exist easily in society, it's a massive problem. Because there are just so many ramifications of healthcare that is driven or rooted in fear. There's too many problems with it. And so this is your opportunity to join with us to clarify this, to contribute your voice, your personal stories, and to make change.
And I think that this is going to be a conference that there is a something is going to happen. I don't think this is going to be a conference where you go and spend a couple days in Florida, or you watch online and then it's, oh, that was nice, but nothing comes of it. My sense of the people in the room and the call to actions that are going to be happening is that we will see a formation of energy, of strategy, of here's our marching orders. This is what the next steps are. So if you're wanting to get involved, if you want some next steps, you want some marching orders, be part of it.
You can go to fearlessfutureconference.com to get your virtual tickets. It is $27 for 2 days of conference. That's, I think we have 14 speakers. We are awarding 5 incredible contributors to the women's healthcare movement at our gala on Friday night. It's just, we hope that you enjoy every single minute. We tried to make this price as accessible as possible, so as many people can come to it as you want. And we just are so excited. So you can grab your virtual tickets, join us from your home, but still feel like you're in the room.
And Lisa, for people that didn't join our gala that we did a year and a half ago, the live stream version of it, I think that was actually tremendously innovative and very successful, because it wasn't just like a screen, it wasn't just like, oh, here's a speaker. Like, just share a little bit about, you were our hostess online, and it was a really fabulous experience. And people that bought the virtual ticket to our gala said, I actually kind of preferred it because I kind of felt like I got a behind the scenes look at everything. Because you were in the dressing rooms, you were behind the scenes.
Absolutely. So I will be you'll be hearing from Leah, you'll be hearing from myself, you'll be hearing from all of the speakers. But what's really fun is that when you have the virtual ticket, I take you, I'll be taking you with a little microphone to the places where even our in-person attendees don't typically get access. So you'll be able to see, some of the setup and some of the like behind the scenes work of the conference, certainly. But I typically, when we did this last time, I'll typically pull people aside and have just a really intimate, small conversation. So you'll get a little bit more intimacy with some of the speakers. You'll be able to, it's a very interesting experience. And I really want to thank Mark Cavalier, who is going to be coming and helping with a lot of this technology. Because again, you get sort of viewpoints of the room and of the speakers that when you're physically in the room, because you're not looking on a screen. So it is a little bit different. And it's a lot of fun. You're not just passively watching. We keep you really engaged. You'll be encouraged to comment. You'll be encouraged to be just as involved. We will facilitate the chat so that you can contribute that way. Your messages will be acknowledged. So you won't it's not just like a live stream that you can have on the background. I mean, certainly you can do that, but you will very much be encouraged to be live, to be present. You'll be acknowledged. We'll read your comments and we'll share them. One of the things we did this year with this conference is we did a survey. So when you sign up for your virtual ticket, you'll be prompted to do a survey. And we asked people if you could ask any of the speakers a question, what would it be? And that's been really fun to gather. So again, you'll have that opportunity live and in real time to interact with some of these speakers that maybe you have only interacted with from afar. So it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, that's the part that I just want people to understand. It's not just the one that you hit play on and then you don't. If there's a panel or if there's a speaker that you're really like, I've always wanted to like ask them this is your chance.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, we will see everybody next week in Orlando, whether it be in person or virtual. You still have time to get in-person tickets. So if you live in the north and you're like, I want to escape the cold and go to where it is 85 degrees right now, I have been looking every day because I am in current 9 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've been looking every day. How hot is it in Orlando today?
Yeah, me too.
Opportunity to get in-person tickets to both our conference and our gala, and then $27 virtual tickets. Please spread the word on this. Let us make this the most widely attended women's healthcare event on the internet in 2025. We're so grateful, everybody, for your support. The next time you hear from us, it'll be in Orlando. All right, Leah, thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.